Hi Asif, thank you for taking the time to sit down with us today. Would you mind if we ask you a few questions?
Sure.
Would you like to introduce yourself to everyone that
Sure.
doesn't know you?
So my name is Asif Mohammed. I'm currently both the regional chair of Unite here in the West Midlands, and I'm also currently the young members chair here in the region. I recently graduated from the University of Birmingham, and for my sins, I'm actually a Villa fan.
Why did you join Unite the Union?
So I joined Unite a few years ago as a student when I started working in retail and then later hospitality. And what I noticed in the world of work was that there was a lot of exploitation. The working conditions weren't as good as they could be. And things like parity pay, for example, I wasn't being paid the actual national living wage at the same rate as an adult was being paid. So I thought the way I challenge these sorts of issues is by being part of a collective and coming together with people who are in a similar position to me, and then together in the trade union movement, taking that forward, bargaining in the workplace and fighting for better pay, fighting for better working conditions, and ultimately having a better, fairer future for all of us.
You've made quite the achievement in the last month or so, not only becoming the first regional chair as a young member, but you're also the first BAM member to be regional chair. How does that make you feel as such a young person in a prominent position within Unite?
Firstly, I think it's an incredible honour. I'm, immensely humbled by the trust placed in me by our hundreds of thousands of members here in the West Midlands. We face incredible challenges, and there's a great body of work out there for all of us to make sure that we stay relevant in the 21st century. But I'm absolutely confident that working together, hand in hand, in solidarity, we'll be able to meet those challenges and have a strong trade union movement for the 21st century.
Being in this leadership role now that you are, it's quite a prominent one in the Unite structure. If you had to give one piece of advice to a young member just starting out, or a non-member who had no idea what a trade union would be, what would the advice be?
I guess what I would say is that the sky is your limit. Unite is a forward-thinking and a progressive union, and recognise our strength as a union lies in the strength of our membership. So we'll absolutely 110% back you, support you, and be behind you, whatever your endeavours may be, wherever you want to end up, whatever your ambitions are, whether that's an ambition professionally in terms of the workplace, whether that's an ambition in terms of social work or political work, whether that's an ambition in terms of somewhere you want to be in the union, you will be absolutely supported, and the sky is absolutely your limit.
And do you have any personal aims which you want to do going forward to try and support young people in work in the community?
Sure. I think the world of work has immensely changed in the last 30 years. So, for example, my dad was a steel worker, but my first jobs were in retail and in hospitality. So, where people work and how people work has changed, and we need to work towards having that same level of density in retail and hospitality as we traditionally had in manufacturing. And we've seen some great work on that already. We've seen kind of the fantastic work done by our brothers and sisters in the Bakers Union with the muck strike dispute. We've seen fantastic work in our own union with the TGI's dispute as well. But absolutely we must go forward and become stronger and stop organising in those sectors, because those are where economic growth in the 21st century will be found.
That's great. And finally, as you know, today is International Youth Day. It's run by the UN, and its theme of today is Safe Spaces for Youth. Is there anything you'd like to bring to the attention of everyone regarding this year's theme?
Sure. I think, as some of you will be aware, there's currently mass protests by students fighting for road safety in Bangladesh. While road safety might seem to be something that's fairly mundane and is indeed taken for granted here in the UK, unfortunately that's not the case in other places in the world. Dhaka, which is the capital of Bangladesh, has one of the highest rates of road casualties every year. These students are demanding the absolute minimum, the right to be able to cross the road to university, to school, or to work, without having to fear being run over, being injured, or even being killed. And the response of the Bangladeshi government is, without excuse, absolutely atrocious. And what I will say, firstly, to the Bangladeshi government, what you're doing is, has no justification it's absolutely horrendous and despicable. It's in gross violation of international human rights law. And to think that you can pick on young people because, you know, we don't have perhaps the political power that you may perceive us not to have, that's absolutely wrong, and those young people will be supported internationally. And secondly, to those students protesting today, you know, you might feel alone, you might feel scared, you might feel afraid, but for one moment, don't forget that there's millions, hundreds of millions of young people around the world that, you know, at this time when you're vulnerable, that we stand with you, we hear you, and we stand in solidarity with you, and we will not allow the Bangladeshi government to get away with its absolutely despicable actions.
Well, thank you for taking the time, Asif. We know you're a very busy person at the moment, but we're glad you could take the time to sit down with us.
Thank you.